All right. Welcome to Fastbreak Breakfast, NBA podcast. My name is Keith Parrish. I'm here once again with my buddy through the miracle of computer phone with Jon Burr. Jon, how are you?
Aloha, everyone. I'm nonplussed.
Nonplussed. I always misinterpret this word, misdefine this word. I feel like it has a negative connotation. It doesn't necessarily have a negative connotation. Is that accurate? Am I wrong again?
I think it's a relative term.
Okay.
It basically means I don't know how to react.
Yeah.
Which, in light of Chuck's continued absence, I remain nonplussed.
Oh, nonplussed with the openings? Sure.
Yeah, I'm just always, I should take the time to figure out what I'm going to do.
Oh, at the opening of the show, of course.
After 8 years,
yeah,
I should have.
We have habits. We have a sabbatical going on, and we haven't worked out how to start the show exactly the same. We haven't broken the routines.
Right, and I'll run these by you right now. I've had considerations.
Okay.
I thought about every week doing like a quote that I had heard in the NBA.
No, I like this. That's a fun idea.
The earlier week. But then, frankly, I thought that you would veto all of them.
Well, it depends. If you do it in like a weird voice, sometimes that makes our listeners uncomfortable. So I don't know.
Or usually I would probably take something that used out of context is inappropriate.
I want to say initially in the early years of the show.
I'm not giving you a hard time about it. It's just probably, I'm probably going to be inappropriate about the context of the quotes.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is a sunk cost. This is a waste of everyone's time.
No,
let's see. I thought about other ones where, pretty much if we hadn't have gone with a kudos to me segment.
Right. That was good. We took it from you. That makes sense.
I probably would have kudos for the rest of the year.
Right.
But that's okay. As long as kudos is kept alive forever.
Kudos is still in the show. I was gonna say, I think early in our run, the first several years of the run, you would kind of do like a Lee Ellis type thing, where Lee Ellis, what did he used to say? He used to say like girls or ladies,
girls,
and eventually they took that away, because it's just boys being boys. I guess is the excuse for, I don't know. It was weird. They decided, you know what, we're mainstream.
Gender is a fluid time construct.
And I'm all about that. Give me some fluid gender, Jon. I was thinking when you said nonplussed, I just thought my initial thought was like, it's been a hard week for Nashville. We didn't do a main show last week. Of course, the nonstop school shootings across the nation hit our town, hit very, very close to where I live. I can't drive the same way to work anymore because there's no way I'm driving past that place. So we're dealing with that. We're dealing with just like everyone has their own, I don't know.
Is it weird that I wanted to drive by it just to
I think it's a natural curiosity.
Face it?
I mean, I don't know. I need therapy. I know that part.
Yeah.
And, I need therapy before this horrible incident happened. And I thought maybe I just need to face things. Maybe that's the way to do it. And just going to my job, which is like a mile from where the shooting happened, this other middle school, it was extremely difficult. And I had to walk around for several minutes before going inside each day. Cause they have ribbons up for the slain kids and stuff. And it's just I don't know how you're supposed to do just life stuff. And we're not even, we're just people who live nearby.
Right.
I mean, basically, if you've been in Nashville for a while, I'm sure you know people involved at the school, but I'm not even personally touched necessarily by this thing, but I've been freaking out all week. And then on top of that, we also live in a severe thunderstorm tornado alley where we basically deal with severe weather nonstop. I'm going to turn this into something funnier right now where again, we had that watch party on Friday night for Grizzlies Clippers, a lot of fun, but of course we had severe weather warnings, maybe kept the crowds down. Nashville avoided tornadic activity this time, but we did get some intense winds. But it wasn't the Friday night intense winds that affected me personally, Jon. On Saturday, it's still just gusting around. I got a bunch of trees in my backyard, And we come back from
Right.
little kids soccer. I'm still winless as a soccer coach, going on like 20 matches now. Kudos to me. And
Wow.
and we come home and like the wind is just being weird. And I hear the loud crack where I'm like, oh, another branch is coming. We've had nonstop branches falling. And I hear the crack. I look out and there's this giant branch that has not fallen, but is cracked, hovering above both of my cars. Both of our cars are parked underneath this tree. My one car,
Did you go for it?
So one of the cars already has severe tree damage from the last time a huge limb fell on it. And I have not fixed that, mainly because I don't know any body shops nearby, or I don't know what an adult does in this situation. But I looked at it for a while and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna move the cars. And I don't know if this is the right choice or not. Yeah, like the thought was, all right, if it goes,
did you put on a worn leather fedora?
I was like, if it goes, I feel like I have a solid 3 seconds. I don't think it's going to fall completely because it's going to go crack, 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 crack. I'm going to see it because it's being held up by another branch. So I'm like, it's not going to be, it's not an instantaneous drop. And I'm like, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to basically run into the car and try to start it and back up in like a second, like do a Fast and the Furious. Can I do it?
Was your wife home?
Yeah, she is home. I didn't tell her because I didn't think I had time to tell her.
Oh, you didn't tell her. Okay.
I didn't. There's
no way this is happening.
I made a split-second decision where I'm like, you know what? The car that isn't currently beat up from limbs, I am going to back that one up because so I'm going to go for it. So like I'm looking.
So is this a Hyundai or the other one?
There's a Corolla and an Elantra. The Elantra already has, again, a deep divot, a gash from a previous tree. The last time, I think I talked about on the show, we heard
Nikola Jokic scar.
We heard the limb go down. I looked outside and I was like, oh, wow, we got lucky. It landed right in between our two cars. And then the next day I came out, I was like, nope.
Wrong.
It bounced off the car. And that's why it's flying in between the two cars. But anyways, so I'm looking up the entire time. I sit in the car, still looking up. And then I start it and go. Go back up, like peel out, gravel driveway. All right, I scoot it back. And now I'm thinking, all right, that worked. I'm not dead. Should I try it again?
Let's do it again.
For the next car. And I do it again. Same mechanism. Looking up the entire time. Looking up. Turn the car on, go. Back out. And so then, all right, my cars are safe. Now, where I don't possess the adult knowledge of what to do to fix my car, I do possess, because of life experience, the adult knowledge of what to do when trees are about to hit my house or hit something else. I go ahead and pre-call the tree guy. I send the tree guy a text like, hey man, we're going to have an incident. So could you just come over, earliest schedule, like next week. And they're like, yeah, we'll be there. But then I get the cars inside, send the text. 1 minute later, the thing comes down. It luckily nothing's underneath. The only thing underneath is the previous limb that fell that I sawed up with a handsaw. It's still there as decoration in the driveway. It landed on top of that. It did bounce off the wire that connects the power line that connects the power from the utility pole to our house. Bounces off of that, pulls that down pretty low, kind of breaks off some of the stuff on the back of our house. And again, because I have the life experience, I've already gone through this, I know what to do. I call our power company. I'm like, hey man, got this wire hanging down low in our backyard. It needs to be taut. And I call the tree people. And honestly, everything taken care of, but by the next morning. So I was pretty happy with that knowledge. But that is the nonstop adventure of homeownership. Yeah. What's your arborist up to?
My arborist is like a vulture. I don't have to call.
Oh, he just swings by.
Yeah. He's like a Coen Brothers character.
Love it.
Like somewhere between like William Forsything, Raising Arizona, and Anton Chigurh. Like he's both folksy and wrathful.
Yeah.
And we've just been having this like 20-year conversation about our good tree.
Right.
He's killed all the bad trees.
Right. Yeah.
And I think the good tree is now becoming a bad tree. And this guy's going to have taken like 50 G's off me before it's all said and done.
So cutting trees is so expensive.
Yes.
Yeah. So previously I'd had this arborist out. These are guys I've vaguely known since when I was in church in high school. These kids were middle schoolers. So I vaguely know them. And They've since, I believe they were in the Marines. They went to Iraq. Now they cut down trees for a living. They do it without helmets or goggles.
Can you even look them in the eye when you talk to them? Or is it just too manly?
But they're so manly. But previously, I've had them over and they did work for us. But like I asked them, like, hey, should we cut these things down? And they're like, no, man. I mean, if it comes down, it's gonna come down. No reason to spend $10,000 taking it down now, but I asked him, I was like, what should we do here? My neighbor's getting real worried about trees. And he's just, he came up with a plan for us. We are going to pay him a little bit, but I was like, hey man, making conversation. Isn't this like, it's pretty good time to be in the tree business? And he just looks at me with that 1,000-yard stare. He's like, I'm so tired. He's like, no, I'm so tired. Like we can't, the tree, like Nashville gets a 70-mile-per-hour wind event every 2 weeks. And it's like, there's no end of trees. The trees just keep coming down. He's like, I'm so tired. There's never a break. Yeah.
So our arborist, he had a crew that I was very used to coming.
Yeah.
And there was a guy named Craig.
Yeah.
And who always was with him. And he was, really ended up sort of becoming friends with him. He did like comedy. I would go see his comedy. And one day for one of our trees, they came and Craig didn't come.
No.
And I was like, where's Craig? And he was like, man, he jumped. And I'm like, he jumped out of a tree? And he's like, no. And I was like, what did he jump? What are you saying? He's like, he jumped off a building.
Dude. And
I'm like, why did you say it like that? He's an arborist. You can't say he jumped.
I thought we were trying to I was trying to steer us back to comedy, away from tragedy.
Sorry.
And there's a suicide story. Amazing. Incredible, man.
And I just blinked at him for a while, and we never discussed Craig ever again.
That's horrible.
Just the disappearing arborist.
Do I now ask you about your breakfast?
Go ahead.
What's your breakfast, John? As we try to keep this lighthearted.
McGall's. 2 donuts, 2 nuts, 2 girls, 1 cup.
The
I was
regulars?
different today.
Yeah. Oh,
no.
You switched it up?
I got something different and it upset my stomach, so maybe I shouldn't do that again.
Yeah.
I did I did 1 filled donut and 1 cinnamon roll. Yeah. Didn't realize how large the cinnamon roll would be.
Oh man.
So I think I just ate the equivalent of 6 donuts.
So back when I was very poor, back when I could not afford a $4 donut, I almost always went with cinnamon roll at the donut store because I thought it was the most volume. I thought it was the most food for my 79 cents. I was like, that will be the big, I would rather have like a cream filled something or another, but it looks so much smaller than this gigantic cinnamon roll. So I thought that was the value purchase, was cinnamon roll. Now
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And I grew up eating cinnamon rolls from Mrs. Winters.
Yep.
A top tier breakfast item.
Unbelievable breakfast
this cinnamon
item
roll,
in my memory.
This cinnamon roll, while it was tasty, it started to leave such an amount of glazed stuff on my person.
Yeah.
That I started to have a crisis of confidence while eating it.
Right.
I felt like Brendan Fraser in The Whale, halfway through. I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah. Honestly,
I ended up not eating my other donut.
With a beard face, I don't normally do a cinnamon because you can't, a cinnamon roll. You just can't too much. I need a donut now that I can put the entire thing in my mouth, a bite. I can't have
honestly, you need donut holes.
Yeah. Donut holes are perfect. I might as well say I didn't have much of a breakfast this morning, but I will tell you about my most recent expensive donut. I got the carrot cake filled. It was like cream cheese filled carrot cake donut. I got to say the actual donut portion of this donut was very stale. I feel like they messed up. It was old. It didn't taste fresh.
Maybe that's what you do with stale donuts. You fill them with some cake that no one wants to eat.
But honestly, I do feel like the stale donut outer layer was a good contrast to the overwhelming creamy inside. Or I'm like, honestly, it all together works.
That's like using the whole buffalo.
Really, there's the tough hide to make that donut less overwhelming. Anyways, Those were our breakfasts. We had our tragedy talk. We had
God help you all.
customer service talk. We had our breakfast. Now it is time to move to our breakfast in bed apologies. This is our opportunity to make right what we might have gotten wrong on a previous episode. It is frequently the first time we talk about the NBA. John, can you steer us towards basketball? Do you have anything you need to make right in the world?
Well, this is pretty tragic because I'm going to talk about the Mavs.
Oh, yeah.
I will apologize for not believing in Jason Kidd and Mark Cuban's ability to just fly the Zeppelin into the building, into the mountainside. I just so now there's rumor that they're even going to shut Kyrie and Doncic down for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
They're not going to make the play-in. They're not going to exist in our minds any longer for the rest of the season. A team that went to the conference finals last year is done. And their second best player might win most improved player and is probably a future all-star. Wow.
Wait, their previous second best player.
Brunson, yeah.
I got confused there for a moment.
Well, I'm confusing.
Thank you. Yes, the guy they let go, the guy that didn't re-sign or keep, Jalen Brunson, great candidate for most improved player, is awesome. Yeah,
But it sounds like Brunson won't get it due to overwhelming statistics of other players. Which we'll get to later. We'll talk about
all the awards are so dumb. Or at least many of the awards are so dumb. Like quickly
and how many games you're gonna have to play to get
how many games you're gonna have to but so quickly he's gonna win Sixth Man of the Year basically because of his stats when he started. That doesn't make any sense to me. Anyways, I want there to be a points cap on Sixth Man of the Year. Not a minimum games played. I think you shouldn't be allowed to average more than 13 points per game.
Ooh.
That's what I want my Sixth Man award. The Mavericks are in a weird spot, of course. They are 4-11 when Kyrie and Luka both play, which just seems impossible. There's no way Dorian Finney-Smith was that important. There's no way. They lose close every time.
Yes. Every time I watch them, I'm like, man, they look like they're pretty good together. It's like, oh, but they're losing.
I mean, something like, what is this? I'm going to count this up. 5, 8, like 10 of their last 13 games have been on the road.
Not
that's
great.
That's kind of rough. That's hard. The remaining games, they play on Wednesday. They're home now.
Yeah.
They play the Kings, the Bulls, and the Spurs. They don't even necessarily control their own first-round pick. It's only top 10 protected.
I look forward to someone named Champagnier putting 38 points on them.
I don't, first of all, I'm basically anti-tank, but I do believe when you hit a certain point of the season, we'll call this the Blazers corollary, you got to shut it down.
Yeah.
You just got to go for the pick. I don't see how the Mavs are there. I can't comprehend being like, I would rather have an 80% chance at keeping my pick versus making the playoffs with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving in their prime. I mean, Kyrie's an unrestricted free agent. How in the world are you not going to at least try to make the playoffs? And we don't know if they're officially going to shut it down, but.
So I try to realize that these rich and powerful people are in many ways just like us.
Yep.
And I try to think, so I'm pretty petulant. If the refs, in my mind, stole a game like they did the Warriors game from them with the the free basket in a 2-point game or whatever.
Oh, that one doesn't even bug me. Although that was one of the funniest plays ever.
It shouldn't bug you.
I thought Trae Young stole a game. I didn't even see the last 2 minutes.
I'm role playing.
All right, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
And I protest, and the league laughs in my face. I could see a petulant Elon Muskian, a musky guy just being like, well, I don't shut the season down. I don't want to do this anymore.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. I take my ball and go home from Cuban.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And I'm wondering if maybe that's just what's happened here. And I think it really feels like Jason Kidd has defiantly and angrily gone against the grain of his own team.
You know what it looks like Kid is doing from an outsider perspective? Kid is doing the basketball coaching equivalent of a parent being like, smoke this whole pack of cigarettes.
Yes.
He's doing, okay. You guys want to do that? Fine. Make your bed and sleep in it. I'm going to make you throw up from smoking cigarettes. Or I'm going to make you nauseous to teach you a lesson. He's teaching the Mavericks a lesson, I guess. That's what it feels like from an outsider. That's what it looks like his coaching style is right now. Like, just fine.
His post-game press conferences
incredible.
Are like must-see television at this point.
He keeps blaming Mavs Twitter for things. He's like, you guys on Twitter. Well, you wanted me to do this. It's like, what's wrong with humans? Like you're the basketball coach.
Twitter has never.
You're paid millions of dollars.
Twitter has never meant less.
That's right.
It's basically unusable. Like I can't.
No one can even see our tweets anymore, Jason. Elon Musk has buried everyone's tweet. No one even sees anything anymore.
The vanity searching that Jason Kidd must do must be very specific.
I mean,
let me search for Jason Kidd.
Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. They have to believe they can beat any team in the West. The West is wide open.
Yeah.
There is no dominant superpower in the West right now. Everyone's like the healthy Suns.
I'm ready. I mean, my apology really should be like, I should be ready to face that Kyrie Irving just sucks.
I mean, I don't even know if he does. I don't know. This is, again, part of this is like perfectly tailored for me to make one of those podcaster arguments about like, is it more important to score 30 points and not guard? Or to actually just have a wing who's a glue guy when you already have the 30-point per game scorer. I don't know. I don't feel like that situation though. I don't know it's that situation.
I feel like sometimes the like casual fan viewpoint is the proper viewpoint. And I just like, I like overdose on basketball. And I'm like, but God, Kyrie can get to the rim at will. He's unbelievable. You know, he's got the best handles in the league. And I watch him do this. I watch him do that. But like, I have friends who are Celtics fans. They're like, you don't want Kyrie on your team.
Right.
He sucks. He's toxic. And I'm like, you just, you're
bitter.
And then there's the people from the Nets. They're like, get him off of your team. He sucks. He is toxic. Why don't I listen to those people when they keep, when someone shows you who they are, I should believe them.
Well, that is the axiom that I've said on the show. And I believe anytime a trade happens, take a sampling of what the fans are saying about the guy who left.
Why didn't I do that?
When Kyrie gets traded, Nets fans are like, man, this is a great return.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, well, we got a pick and a useful player.
We got Rolando Blackman III.
Yeah, we got Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith, two guys who can play, two guys who can be in your top
Dinwiddie
8.
back, a guy that we like.
We got guys who could be in your top 8. And we got a pick. And they're like, oh, what a great return. Just look at the fan bases. The fan bases know better than pundits, better than podcasters. Here's a casual fan take that we probably can't accept as being accurate, where we were wrong about. If a casual fan's like, hey, man, Dwight Powell and Maxi Kleber, they suck. You know what? Maybe they're not that good. Maybe the lineup net rating, lineup data, where it's like, well, honestly, it looks pretty good when these guys very efficient. Shot block. Maybe you need your front court to get more than 4 rebounds combined in a game. Maybe you need them to make more than 3 shots combined in a game.
It is funny how like someone who watches and gets too into basketball will get so into it that they'll look at a stat. They'll look at a stat and they'll be like, damn, Luka Doncic, Dwight Powell is the best pick and roll combo in the league. Or Steven Adams and John Morant is the best pick and roll combo in the league. And podcaster brain goes, Dwight Powell and Steven Adams are underrated. And like a normal human brain is like, damn, Luka Doncic and John Morant are so good that they make these bums awesome. But that's not how podcaster brain works at all. So I find myself just being
you can't call Steven Adams a bum on here, though. I'm sorry.
I know. I love Steven Adams. But that's like, you know, I wanted to use a couple of different examples.
No, it makes it absolutely makes sense. When you say like, hey, Steven Adams has the best offensive rating in the NBA.
Yeah.
Oh, I misjudged him.
Yeah. I mean, this is a guy who like we wrote off on the Pelicans, and we benched in the playoffs. Like, there's obviously like
the Grizzlies benched him last year in the playoffs, like DNPs on purpose.
Right. Yeah. There's obviously,
and now he's the most important player on the Grizzlies. Yeah.
Right. And I have to live through like Grizzlies, like diehard fans being like, he's the most important player on the team. It's like, okay, he's not, but
I think
I understand.
I understand what you're saying, and we all need to self-reflect on what that means about our team. If we take away this one piece and the building crumbles, maybe the building wasn't that strong, guys.
That's when I get to utter my favorite axiom. Let's look at the coaching.
You just blame coaching for everything. Taylor Jenkins has never gone under his preseason Vegas win total. 4 for 4.
I blame all coaches except for Jason Kidd at all times, and then have to apologize when Jason Kidd ruins his own team.
Here's my apology.
Imagine having the most toxic coach and the most toxic player on the same squad, and the most toxic owner.
Maybe the most toxic owner. Yeah.
Wow.
Is Mark Cuban just the story of the guy who you just do too much? Like, let the plant grow. Don't touch it. Don't water it. Don't just give it sunlight and water and step away. Like, I don't know. Like,
I have to, Mark Cuban is exactly how I would be as a basketball owner.
I think he's the embodiment of like every fan, every podcast. Yeah. Like, man, if I had that much money, I would buy a team and I'd be super involved. I would sit.
I'll hire Harala Bob.
I would hire a guy I heard on the Bill Simmons podcast. And I would just try to win. And then
I'm going to get calf implants.
And then you get frustrated. You read ESPN, you read Ringer articles about bad contracts, and you're like, man, we can't overpay for Jalen Brunson. We can't spend an extra $6 million.
Mark Cuban has podcaster brain.
He does have podcaster brain. We can't. Nate Duncan said 15 million is too much for Tyson Chandler. I don't know.
We get to maybe
I don't think Nate Duncan was around back then when they didn't keep together their championship team.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Has Nikias Duncan transcended Nate Duncan in your podcaster rankings world?
Oh, it's a great question. I don't know.
He has for me.
Yeah.
I check like I when I check a Duncan first, I check Nikias Duncan, and I no longer listen to Dunked On.
By the way, just to get.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Nikias. It's fine. Nikias is his name correct. Yeah.
Am I getting Nate right?
I think so.
Okay, I don't listen to basketball podcasts as much as I used to because I've become like a stupid YouTube child.
Right.
I like watch YouTube content. I even listen to YouTube content. It's bad. But I like, especially since they gone behind a paywall. Like he's no longer the premier Duncan.
Yeah, I don't listen to hardly any basketball podcasts anymore. Hopefully the listeners out there can tell things I regurgitate incorrectly. My apology on the show we did 2 weeks ago, John. We were comparing NBA players and NBA personalities to characters from one of our favorite TV shows, Justified.
Okay.
And I do feel like it was an oversight not to mention a Mags Bennett character. And I do feel like we had a conversation on social media about this. I do feel like I think it's Draymond. I mean, Draymond, Mags Bennett is a perfect comparison. And I do think, best justified villain. She's obviously up there as the baddie from season 2. And I do think Draymond, for me, it's a perfect Mags Bennett. So I apologize for not being as thorough.
Very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Who did Michael Rappaport play? What was the name of that character?
I don't know, Crocodile Jim or something. I have no idea what the character name was.
I think that's Klay Thompson.
Oh yeah. Did we not say that? Maybe we did. I don't know.
I don't know.
Rappaport, Justified.
That's where Four Rings Thompson is for me now.
Character name. I gotta know this. Oh, he was Daryl Crow. He was a Crow brother.
One of the cousins.
One of the Crows. Daryl Crow Jr. Also, John, here's an apology. I don't know if you saw this in our check fact Slack channel.
That means it's on me.
Magnus discovered that in episode 22, John.
Oh God.
I believe we're on episode 701. right now.
Oh God, Magnus.
On episode 22, Jon, you said Alexei Shved was Croatian.
Oh,
He's a Russian.
I still don't know where Nikola Jokic is, and he's my second favorite NBA player. So
yeah, kudos to you. Anyways,
I know he's from Sombor.
Those are our apologies. Before we get to our steak and eggs best thing, a word from our sponsor. Shoot for three, Grizz Nation. Grab the Grizzlies fan favorite 3 crunchy tacos combo and score a free burrito supreme. Now I have terrible news. This is only for Memphis area Taco Bell locations while supplies last. But purchase this combo. This is the 3 crunchy tacos combo. I'm having trouble reading in honor of Chuck. Purchase this combo at your local Taco Bell through April 18th, and you'll receive a key tag good for a free burrito supreme on future visits. So maximize those free tacos and visit Taco Bell today to get your Grizzlies fan favorite 3 crunchy tacos combo. All right, steak and eggs best thing. Jon, what's the best thing you saw in the last week? Or last 2 weeks, honestly. Just open it up, whatever you want.
I think I saw like a genre and format for me, like a genre and format shifting highlight that I realize I'm being manipulated by. So have you seen the Victor Wembanyama highlight?
Yeah, the Victor Wembanyama step back 3-pointer, but then tip dunks his own 3-pointer. Yeah, he misses the 3-pointer, and it's a fadeaway.
This thing is like frame rate shifted like George Miller, and then like zooms in and out like Tony Scott, and like it's absolutely.
Who's the lone survivor director?
Peter Berg.
Peter Berg. It has the speed up where every time you fall down a hill, slow motion, then speed up the film, then slow motion, then speed up the film to be like, oh wow, that's wild looking. That's a Peter Bergian moment. Yeah,
it's full Fury Road.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And like, I know that I'm being manipulated here. It doesn't matter. I have embraced it. And now I am ready for the Grizzlies to lose the rest of their remaining games to increase their chances to get Victor Wembanyama.
I mean, that's what Luka Doncic is doing. He's like, all right, a 4% chance. If we lose all 3 of our games, we might have a 4% chance of this guy. I mean, the slow-mo, again, the shifting frame rate version, or the shifting film speed version, definitely looks like an alien species we've never seen doing things that we don't think are legal. Like how the normal basketball view, it's like, oh yeah, that guy's really big and long. I mean, it's still amazing. It's still incredible.
Right.
But the
like the way it zooms, we don't get to see where he jumped from. I assume he jumped from the logo.
Yeah. He's jumping from out of bounds, and he's flying through the air to tip dunk it. That's a good one. The storytelling in it is so perfect, because like the shark leaps into from off screen. You know, it's beautiful. My best thing.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, my best thing is Troy Weaver, general manager of the Pistons, wrote an apology letter this morning to or maybe it's the state of the franchise. Honestly, he's kind of puffing himself up. I feel like, but good job, Troy Weaver. Engaging with the fans, telling them that we're disappointed, and progress is not always linear. You know, we had some Cade Cunningham injury situation that set us back a little bit. We're not happy with where we are, but he did say we are happy with where we are set up to be. We got a great big chunk of lottery balls to maybe get Victor Wembanyama. Got a lot of cap space. He did address the letter to, quote, those who bleed red, white, and blue.
So like Hank Williams Jr., Charlie.
Right.
Daniels.
I don't feel like that phrase works when you
You should have said red. Those that pump piston blood.
Oh man, I would, or those who bleed horsehead teal.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
No, like if
to all my centaurs out there.
You can't say to those who bleed red, first of all, everyone. And then you can't say red, white, and blue, because that's just, I'm sorry, Pistons. That's
January 6th-ish.
America has a claim on
These
that.
Colors don't run.
Kind of a famous phrase, a famous list of colors.
Maybe he's just getting them all. Maybe that's just good marketing.
He also, while saying they're well positioned for the future, he did not emphasize that I believe they have more top 2 picks than any team in the NBA. They've been collecting guys picked 2 or higher which is, should be incredible for them. But good job, Troy Weaver, stepping up for the fans, giving him a little morsel this fine April morning. Opposite of best things, John. The opposite of our steak and eggs best thing is our cream of wheat worst thing. What's the worst thing you saw in the last week?
Well, I'm gonna let you do the true worst thing.
Okay.
It's a cataclysm. It's maybe the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. But so I guess I'm probably there's that famous Reddit, or I think it's Reddit, or maybe it's a subreddit, or I don't know. I'm boomering it up here, but am I the a-hole?
Right, of course, yeah.
So I am perturbed at the very least at the think pieces and the successful lobbying for lesser defensive players, in some cases not even the best defensive player on their team, suddenly being lauded for defensive player of the year over Jaren Jackson Jr.
It's rough.
I can't, I've never been in this position because I've never been like, oh, my player is going to win this award hands down. When they come for you, and it should be, there's underdog stories. People like underdog stories, but the feeling I have of first anger and then shame over how upset I get over the award I'm expecting to come to our player, maybe being hanging chatted away, is getting to me. I'm basically, I want to stop the steal.
So I talked about this with Adam Mares last week on the show, where it's like, who in the world thinks Brook Lopez is the best defender on his team?
Yeah.
I understand arguments against Jaren if you want to cite his minutes per game and his games played. And honestly, if Jaren doesn't win it this year, he's never going to win it. Now that there's a 65 games played rule, we got to win it now. But man, I don't know why, when you're the third best defender on your own team, when you can only play one kind of defense, he's a drop big. He's a rim protector, but he's a drop big rim protector. I don't know how. How does Drew Holiday not have a better campaign?
Giannis, you could argue.
Drew, Evan Mobley, OG Anunoby, guys who can actually switch on to perimeter players. I thought we were done with this. I thought Marcus Smart was kind of like maybe it was the pulled too far back, but that was hey, we can't give it to Gobert every year. He does a thing, he does it incredibly well, but he does a thing, just one thing. So yeah, I'm with you, John. I feel upset. Again, if Jaren was losing to Drew Holiday, I would be like, yep, Drew Holiday's incredible. What can you do? And if Jaren's losing to Evan Mobley, I'm like, fine. Evan Mobley played a lot more games.
See, I'm upset about the Mobley one. That's the one that kind of got me going.
Well, there's no comparing
Evan Mobley.
There's no comparing the rim protection ability of Jaren with Mobley. Jaren's is so far ahead of everyone in the NBA, period, flat out. But the fact that Jaren's numbers are that good, and he can switch out and guard people in a pinch.
There have been two kinds of winners of this award. Sheer blocks.
Yeah.
The Rudy Gobert ones.
Yeah.
And then defensive reputation.
Yeah.
Jaren has both of these.
Yeah.
So why is he going to lose?
I don't know. And
also the Cavs, it's not like the Grizzlies where it's like Jaren plays one of the best defensive teams. The Cavs kind of suck at defense.
No, the Cavs don't suck at defense. The Cavs, I feel like the Cavs, Bucks, and Grizzlies are all they're all basically together as far as defense rating and such. I believe I can double check that. I just don't
stare at it.
Evan Mobley's not even in the conversation. This is a 2-horse race now between Brooklyn.
That's where the think pieces are coming out.
And Jaren Jackson Jr.
Until recently, I think Brolo was ahead in the Vegas odds, which I know doesn't mean anything, but it's still just like, why?
No, I'm saying Brolo's been ahead for a while now.
Yeah. I mean, Jaren's back.
Jaren's averaging over a steal and 3 blocks per game. His analytic numbers are basically off the charts.
Outrageous.
Leading the charts, at least. The Grizzlies have the best field goal percentage defense, period. They have the best field goal percentage defense, of course, when he's on the court. His rim protection defense, the expected field goal percentage of his opponents, they shoot 10% worse than they're expected to when he's on the court. Again, if you're gonna
the Cavs have the best defense, so maybe I should shut up.
Yeah. The Cavs are a very good defensive team, and you got Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. I think it's weird that we got to Brook Lopez Here's a fun anecdote that has
Well,
nothing to do with
I
Darren.
mean, the other thing I want to just say very quickly is if this is about punishing the Grizzlies for being annoying and pointing guns at people, that's fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But let's call a spade a spade.
Call it for what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you just want to, if you want to eradicate us for that, that is fine. I get it. But I think Jaren's catching
Jaren's not
here
even on social media.
of our terms. Yeah.
That's what everyone's like. The Grizzlies talk too much trash. You're like, none of them are on social media. John was on social media. He stopped. Everyone else not on social media.
Kudos to Dylan Brooks for it's in this latest piece that just came out where it's about Dylan Brooks's trash talking. Apparently Dylan isn't even talking to other players. He's just walking around talking trash to himself like a crazy LA street person, and that is amazing.
That is what Tony Allen would do.
Yes.
Tony Allen would just talk to himself. The best. No, I was going to say real briefly, the Grizzlies on Friday night played the Clippers with Jaren Jackson Jr., where we had our watch party, and Jaren broke his own franchise record for most blocks in a season. The Grizzlies gave up 94 points in that game. The previous game against the Clippers, where Jaren didn't play, they gave up 141. That's not I'm not saying that's a definitive stat. That's just one random blip that we can throw into the mix. Also, by the way, this could be my worst thing, but it's not specifically. In that Bulls game,
has to stay.
Well, the Bulls outscored the Grizzlies by 36 in the second half. That's the most the Grizzlies have ever been outscored in any half in franchise history. The Bulls in that game outscored the Grizzlies 31-0 in points off of turnovers, which feels like that's a record, but I don't know how to look that record.
They only had one turnover, right?
Yeah, they had 2 team turnovers plus 1 turnover that was on a last second full court pass. It wasn't even like a real turnover. Yeah. Anyways, my worst thing is my, let's say, second favorite player, Kyle Anderson, had a chance to win a game again where they were 19.5-point favorites against the tanking Trailblazers, and he shot a layup over the backboard. And I've watched this play trying to figure out what Kyle did wrong. I think
I got it.
You know what he did? I mean, I just think he put he was going for real high off the glass.
I think he got rushed.
He got a little bit rushed, and he just put a little bit too much oomph, just about 10% too much oomph. And that took it from the top of the backboard to right over the top of the backboard. Timberwolves lose when they are 20-point favorites.
Or he got confused and he did the thing where he thought they were ahead by 1 point and he tried to throw the ball up as high as he could into the air.
Oh, hope the clock would run out. Oh yeah. Very possible. The Timberwolves, who fell from 7th to 9th with that loss.
Timberwolves and Grizzlies just trading brutal losses that day.
Well, I mean, also the Kings lost that same day to the Spurs.
Take a lap, Keith.
Well, I mean, if a person put a few dollars down on a parlay for the Spurs and
you could have
team. Oh, Spurs and
Spurs, Blazers,
and Blazers to win.
Yeah,
it was it paid 125 to 1. Perhaps if you were in our Patreon only Slack, you would have ridden that high with some of us. And shout out Caleb for being a rich man now, because of riding that high. And we found out. I
just wish you guys had put more.
Yeah, we found out after we won this incredible 12,000 odds plus 12,000 odds parlay that this was the first time since they've tracked these things that 2 underdogs of 15 points or more won on the same day.
Wow.
In the NBA. Can I tell you, I like to do my gambler's fallacy of why I thought it was a good idea.
Please.
We're in April. Weird things happen in April. I was like, this dumb Trailblazers team is going to win one of these games. That was my first thought. They're going to win one of these games, even though they're not even starting Trenton Watford's out.
They can't even play Shaden Sharp.
Yeah, they're starting Skylar Mays. I was thinking, first of all, I thought was there's no way the Timberwolves should be 20-point favorites because apparently they have a vomiting virus. This has been reported that they have a vomiting virus. Everyone's been sick. Yeah. They're taking IVs. They're laying down in between timeouts. I was like, well, first of all,
you went with the Ace Rothstein style.
Yeah, so I'm like, they shouldn't be 19.5-point favorites. And then I'm like, well, let's just make a fun parlay. Who else is out there?
Keith knows who the quarterback's banging.
I saw Lakers Rockets. I'm like, well, I think Lakers are going to win this comfortably. I cannot put the Rockets in this. But I saw the Spurs, and the Spurs have talent. And the Kings, I felt like, you know what? One of these teams also they're due for a weird loss. So what if these things what are these losses I feel like are both due where the line seems way too big to me? What if they both happen on the same day? And thus we get money.
This needs to be the new segment.
What? Why I was right.
Keith Rothstein. This should have been in a kudos to you.
Well, so here's what I'm confused about. Why haven't the Timberwolves given their vomiting virus to one of their opponents? Like, shouldn't the Lakers be coming down with some stomach flu, some stomach bug in the upcoming days?
I guess it's just a testament to the Timberwolves defense being too loose.
It is too loose.
Too loose.
Yeah, I feel bad for the Timberwolves. Horrible loss. I don't feel bad for the Kings because I want them to be the 3 seed, but like they had a chance. I mean, honestly, they had a chance to catch the Grizzlies. Like the Grizzlies play a back-to-back. They play tonight against this same Trailblazers team that has their injury report on Twitter is a thread. They can't fit all the people who are out in one tweet when they send it out. So the Grizzlies play the Trailblazers at home, and then they play second night of a back-to-back at New Orleans. I assume they're going to rest players then. They play at the Bucks, at the Thunder to close the season. The Kings, honestly, really, I thought had a great chance of catching the Grizzlies once they blew this 23-point lead to the Bulls. But the Kings do not take care of business. And now we've got this Western Conference race. Like the East, everything's locked in. Like I guess there's still maybe the Heat can catch the Nets for 6th, but like we know who the 10 teams are. We know who the play-in teams are, basically. We know who like the 1 through 5 seeds are. The West, did you see this? The Lakers can be the 4 seed.
Yes.
The Lakers can have home court advantage in the first round. I mean, I assume they don't want it. I mean, I guess maybe you want home court advantage. Everyone's going to try to dodge the Suns, right? In the first round?
Yes. So I think you want home court advantage in almost every situation except for that.
Yeah, everyone's going to want to be the 6 seed.
Right.
Everyone wants to be on the side of the bracket with the Kings and the Grizzlies.
Correct.
And I don't know who's going to be able to angle it just right, because right now it's incredible. We had our day off for the amateur championship on Monday night. There's 13 games on Sunday. There's 13 games today, I believe. And you have the Warriors, Lakers, Clippers, and Pelicans all with 38 losses. One of those teams is going to be the 5 seed. And then one of those teams is going to be the 6 seed. And it's like, you can't screw around because you don't want to be in the play-in. So like, you can't take a knee metaphorically, to get the loss.
Well, it's going to lead to like the last, the bottom, everyone lower than Phoenix fighting. I think it's a good thing for viewers of basketball because I think they're all going to try to win in an effort to play us for the Kings now.
Right, but they don't want to win too many because they don't want to be the 5 seed.
Oh God,
that's what I'm saying. Like they're trying. They are NASA trying to land on the moon at this point. Or like you got to get all the math just right.
I think the Clippers might be screwing this up because I do think the Clippers are being pretty smart with like switching to Batum and not doing Morris anymore. And like, I feel like they're kind of figuring it out at the right time, but maybe it's the wrong time because they're going to get stuck in the 5 spot.
Well, I think I still think the Thunder might have their eye on the prize where they value an 18% chance at a top 4 pick more than giving their young guys some playoff experience. I don't know. Maybe they're not.
Yeah. That's
why it feels like that the Mavs, if they do in fact finally win a basketball game, maybe they can make some noise here. But I don't know. Honestly, it's riveting. The television is riveting. Every game is basically playoffs. As a Grizzly fan, like what are you hoping for, John? I know I'm hoping that I want to be the 2 seed, but I'm
extremely sick, and you don't know what I want. You don't want to hear.
I know. I literally want to know. I don't want to play the Lakers. I'll take anybody but the Lakers at this point in the first round.
I want to play the Warriors.
You want it. You want the smoke.
Yep. I want to knock the Warriors out of the playoffs in a 7-game series. Probably more than I want.
That would take years off my life.
Yeah.
Even if we win, going to 7 games would take years off my life.
I think the Warriors suck. I thought the Warriors suck all year.
Wiggins is back.
We've been complete. Oh God.
Did you forget about that? You
Yeah.
didn't forget it. That's all right. You can take it back. You don't have to ask for the Warriors anymore.
I still want the Warriors. I feel like I mean, look at every team is frightening. As there's no team that's like, I don't want to face anyone that much less than the Warriors.
I mean, there is.
I don't like you said. I don't want to play the Lakers. I don't want to play the Suns. I don't. I honestly, the teams I want to play are the Kings.
Well, I don't think we're gonna.
And the Warriors.
We're safe. We're safe. No Suns for us. We're safe.
Yeah.
But like, part of me wonders, like, how nothing good happen. Like, you have to work for something good to happen to you. Like you have to put in some effort for like to reap the benefits. I feel like that the ceiling of playing the Warriors or Lakers is much higher than anyone else. Like beating the Warriors or beating the Lakers will make my life way better than beating any other team. But but personally, I want to play it safe. I don't want to risk losing to those teams. That would just make my life sad. I'd be upset. That happened. So it's going to be tough.
Right. But I think the likelihood of us losing to like even someone as hilarious as a Timberwolves is about the same percentage as the Warriors. So to me, the cost benefit analysis, if we beat the Warriors, I will be on top of the world. If we beat the Timberwolves, I'll just be like kind of stressed out and be like, well, we're supposed to beat the Timberwolves.
Stressed out and relieved. Yeah.
But
but again, if we lose to the Timberwolves, to me, I'm repeating myself.
I almost
now.
would rather like,
I wouldn't,
if we were first round against the Warriors, the entire league is watching us. It will be Super Bowl type emotion the entire time.
Right.
It'll be like an amazing experience.
Gotcha.
And I do think we can do it. So, I think Draymond Green will get thrown out of the NBA during the course of that series.
He could miss a layup over the top of the backboard. It's not outside of the realm of possibility for him. Anyways, those were our worst things. Before we get to the awards segment of the program, we have a couple of listener submitted questions. The croissant questioner.
John Lose asks, what do you do if you're the Blazer Boys GM? On paper, a lineup with Dame, Simons, Grant, Nurkic should be good, but the results have been horrible. I think that lineup on paper seems pretty bad as well. Rumor is that they want to sign Grant to a big contract after a nice paper year. His emphasis, not mine. But Raptor, there's your first mistake, John, has him as a league average offensive and defensive player.
That's an acronym, Raptor, which I don't know what the letters stand for. Yeah, go ahead.
It's like a Nate Silver thing.
Yeah.
Very, very useless. Tybal looks like an excellent fit to provide some defense, but now Sharp's emergence late in the year makes things even more confusing. Should they get rid of Simons? Should they end the Nurkic era? Yes. What if they get the number 2 pick? Do they draft Shaedon Sharp 2.0 in Scoot? Well, I should hope that Scoot is more than Shaedon Sharp in your estimation as far as a franchise type player. I just think the Blazer Boys... So here's where I sit with the Blazers as a fan base. If I'm a Blazers fan, I'm pretty worried about Cronin because the players that he seems to want to keep are the players I don't like, and the players he trades away, like Josh Hart, even though he forgot how to shoot, are the players I did like. So to me, as a non-obsessive Blazers fan, I would feel pretty hopeless. It seems like Dame and trash to me. So I don't know. I think you would absolutely try to take the best player if in the draft. No, if you get the number 2 pick, you're taking Scoot. You're not trading down. You're not trying to make something out of this current roster. I don't think. I think signing Grant to a big contract is brutal. I'm
trying to figure out what they got for. The Trailblazers got Larry Nance Jr. and like a first round pick for CJ McCollum. Like they traded CJ McCollum and Josh Hart. That trade's terrible.
Yeah.
Let's go back to John's question.
That I didn't really.
First of all, John, let's do a thing about brevity here. Your question could have been, what do you do if you're the Blazer Boys GM?
Well, a lot of times your question
that was
really
a lot. This is kind of a lot of. This is my son telling stories where I'm like, "What'd you do in gym class?" And he goes, he goes, "Well, we had 8 hula hoops."
Yeah, 8 minutes of lying.
And they had to say, we had to put the hula hoops around the gym. So we took one hula hoop and put it in one corner. And we took one hula hoop and put it in another corner. And we took one hula hoop and put it in another corner. And then we took one hula hoop and put it in another corner. And then we took the other 4 hula hoops and we put one hula hoop against one wall. And we put one hula hoop against one wall. And I stop him and say, son, could you have just said, we spread out the hula hoops?
Right.
Done. Story over. So anyway, John, I know John is Patreon supporter, so I don't mind making fun of him a little bit. First of all, a little brevity on the question.
I don't mind.
Second of all, what should they do? They should obviously draft the best player available. Duh. Shaden Sharp is lighting it up right now. He's a young, exciting, athletic player. Yeah, you keep him, you see what happens. Should they trade Nurkic? Yes, sure. Should they trade Lillard? That gets hard, but also yes. Like the Grizzlies rode trading Mike Conley into this current era of goodness. They got so much stuff.
And you can trade Damian Lillard for a lot more.
You could still trade Damian Lillard for a lot more than the Grizzlies got.
Will I enjoy a Dame Lillard ring chaser? Probably not. But it's not his fault this time.
If Dame doesn't want to go, that's fine. You can keep Dame. But like anything that's not Dame, yeah, just figure out what you're going to do. I admire trying to build your best team each season, which is what you should just do this season. Luckily, your season's gone horribly, and once again, you've tanked out the end of your year, which is okay. And you're going to get another draft pick, and hopefully Shaden Sharp keeps developing. But like Simons is the type of guy you don't have to have him. If you get a good offer for him, sure, do it. Do you have to keep chasing playoffs hardcore as long as Damian Lillard's there? I mean, maybe you can. Yes. Maybe you get lucky and rebuild on the fly. I mean, you're going to get a top lottery pick for the second year in a row. So it has been quote unquote your rebuild on the fly. But you get lucky. If you don't get lucky, if you end up with like a much lower pick, yeah, I mean, just again, best player available. Cross your fingers, hope something good happens. But there's no reason.
Well, can you help me delineate between rebuild on the fly and having a terrible season?
No, those are the same thing.
Okay, thank you.
Aren't they? I mean, I think rebuild on the fly is in the preseason. You try to build your best roster possible without spending future draft assets to acquire players.
That is like amazing branding, marketing tool type speak to be just turn your bad season to we're rebuilding on the fly.
But I mean, that's what it is. Like they're like, we're trying to make the playoffs. We feel pretty good about Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant and Nurkic and Nasir Little. People were fired up about Nasir Little coming into the year.
I felt so good about the offseason. And then it just doesn't work for whatever reason. You find we've been healthy and we're barely 500, and now we're going to stop being healthy. Bubble Nurkic really broke all of our minds.
Yeah, and so I don't.
Here's a shorter question that I have questions about.
Yep.
Magnus asks, which of the new CBA rules, if any, will be the first to be pulled or significantly amended?
I mean, first of all, having all the new CBA details drop on April Fool's Day.
Classic.
Whose idea was that? Is there really a second tax apron? I don't know. It's April Fool's.
The answer's in the question.
April Fool's. I don't. I even listened to a dunk
plausible deniability
to try to wrap my brain around what all the new CBA stuff is. I don't know. I mean, it sounds like
all of the awards stuff is going to end up being a much bigger deal than
we are going to get some hilarious rookies of the year because they're going to rule all the real rookies of the year ineligible, because a lot of times these rookies end up on terrible teams. They play 65 games and they start tanking again.
Dylan Brooks would have been rookie of the year, I think.
Yeah. We're gonna end up with like, oh, Dylan Brooks won rookie of the year. Like this affects a lot of past winners where this rookie didn't get to 65 games. I mean, unless they're going to space out the games even more, a Grizzly will never make all NBA again. Because of the 65 games thing. I don't know if they change it. I think that the arbitrariness of this rule is real dumb. Why don't you just use like the games played for like scoring leader? Like you got to play 58 games. That makes more sense to me. I don't understand it. I don't understand 3 two-way contracts. I don't want any more two-way players. I'll be honest. I wish you should just be able to, if they're on your team, you're on your team. Like, I don't get it. Now we're going to have 18-man rosters and we're going to be shuffling guys through in and out. I think that's weird. The rest of the stuff, I don't know. It sounds like they're trying to punish people who spend money, which seems bad, but it's going to level the playing field. As a Grizzly fan, do I want the playing field to be leveled? I don't think so, because I think we're going to be paying a lot of money to Bane in the future, along with Ja and Jaren, and hopefully another player that we don't have yet. So I don't know. Right now, not having a firm grasp on everything, I would go with I don't really know. What things are going to be horrible mistakes that they've added.
To me, all these will be amended fairly quickly.
Oh yeah, but you can't, can you?
Ones. So that'll be, so to answer the question, I feel like they'll either change it or they'll have some sort of carve out to where they'll have these circumstantial things to make it okay for, because if you go back, people have already done this online, but it's a very different crop of award winners over the past 5 years. Even
we got to go back. We got to go back, retroactively apply this to every award, every all NBA team. The same way we got to go back and change the scoring titles, rebound titles, block titles to the most total points, rebounds, blocks, and not averages. We have to rewrite history, John. Let's go back through and adjust. I think we should just.
I think we just keep. I think here's what they're going to do. They're going to keep moving the goalposts until Joel Embiid gets MVP.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks everybody for the questions. If you want your question answered on air, you have to be a Patreon supporter. Thanks to Matt Meeks, our newest Patreon supporter, who has signed up. If you sign up for Patreon, you can also join our Slack channel, where we talk about basketball and whatever else around the clock. You can also play fantasy sports. More on our fantasy sports in the upcoming Kudos to Me segment. But anyways, support the show, patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. It is now time for the awards segment of the program, and we have a lengthy awards segment as we have 2 weeks of awards to hand out. Here are some honorable mentions for the past 2 weeks, John, of some of the worst shooting performances that weren't quite bad enough to make the nominee list. Honorable mention: Aaron Nesmith, Ish Smith, Jalen Suggs, 1 for 10. Nasir Little, OG Anunoby, 2 for 13. Klay Thompson, Taylor Horton-Tucker, Kobe White, 5 for 17. Josh Giddey and Jaden Ivey, 8 for 19. Fred VanVleet, 7 for 22. Trae Young, 8 for 24. And Klay Thompson, 9 for 28. Those were just our honorable mentions.
Ooh.
For the week that began March 21st and ended March 27th, here are our 3 nominees, John. Lou Dort has 2 games. We're only taking the worst one. Lou Dort had a 2 for 14 and a 1 for 11. We'll take the 1 for 11. Lou Dort, in a loss to the Clippers, was 1 for 11, 3 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 turnover, 4 personal fouls. Spencer Dinwiddie, in a loss to the Magic, wait for it, 0 for 11, 2 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers, 3 personal fouls. And Lauri Markkanen, perhaps the most improved player, was 6 for 22 in a loss to the Suns. He did score 25 points, had 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover, 1 personal foul. Among those 3, John, this is Dinwiddie's world. Congratulations, Spencer Dinwiddie, on your 0 for 11. He's the 4th player this season to go 0 for 11 or worse. PJ Washington still has the best donut of the season with his 0 for 13. Congratulations, Spencer Dinwiddie, on your International Stackhouse of Pancakes award for this past week, the last 7 days. Denny Avdia, in a loss to the Magic. Avdia has been lighting it up, but not this game.
Heating up. He's heating up.
2 for 14, 6 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 turnover, 4 personal fouls. Tari Eason, in a Rockets win over the Pistons. He was 1 for 11, 5 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 1 block, no turnovers, 3 personal fouls. And then Steph Curry, in a game where he and Klay combined to miss 38 field goal attempts. Steph Curry, 39 missed field goal attempts between the 2 of them. Steph Curry against the Nuggets in a loss where Jokic did not play. He was 8 for 28, 21 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, 3 turnovers, 1 personal foul. So we have Avdia, 2 for 14, 6 points. Eason, 1 for 11, 5 points, 10 boards. Steph Curry, 8 for 28, 21 points, I'm not sure where to go on this one.
Give me the 20 misses.
Yeah, that works for me.
Give me the 20 misses.
Since we can't have a tiebreaker with only two of us, it works for me. Congratulations, Steph Curry, on your International Stackhouse of Pancakes loss and also losing 30 road games. Good job. Good job to you. Kudos to me, John.
If we face the Warriors, they'll be mostly on the road. Come on.
Very true.
Saddle up.
Grizzlies have the best home record. The Warriors have like the third worst road record.
Let's go.
Kudos to me, John. Here's my kudos. I won the Mike and Ike Diago Fantasy League, one of our listener regular fantasy leagues. This is it was a 14-team league. I beat George in the final, George Pagel. I have won my listener league, regular league, every year but one. So kudos to me. I will also say kudos to some other winners. Kudos to you, John, for battling out with Mike Frederick.
It's not gonna end well. In
the negative fantasy, the 32-team negative fantasy league, it goes to the final day of the season because it is by definition torture. And it you and Mike are battling it out. Congratulations. You beat me in the semifinals. Good job. Also,
I'd like to thank Santi Aldama, David Roddy, and in an odd twist of fate, Dylan Brooks, Keith's best player, for getting suspended.
Yeah, my guy
rules probably need to be adjusted.
Kind of an important part of my loss. Also, congratulations, kudos to James Incho. Is that his actual name? I have no idea. Put your real names in the Slack, people. He won our 30-team listener Dynasty Fantasy Basketball League. I am told participation in this league was absolutely incredible. That's a huge achievement. He beat Mitchell Buchanan, who finished in second. I will say participation in the Mike and Ike Diago Fantasy League, not that great. That's on the commissioner. Should I do something about that? Probably. Do people like it when the host wins the league? Not at all. Should I probably lose to keep the Patreon supporters happy and to make us not lose patrons? Absolutely. Will I? No. And finally, congratulations to Bernard 381, if that's a real person. This person won our men's bracket challenge and has a $50 NBA store gift card headed their way, if in fact we can verify they're a real person. They were the only person.
He's an FAU graduate.
They're the only person in our entire group to get one Final Four team right. Only 3 people picked an Elite 8 team right, so I guess the Final Four was pretty wild. Who won your listener league, John, for regular fantasy?
It was
that Kevin
Lochner.
Congratulations, Kevin Lochner, for winning John.
Barely beating out Liam, ending the Mike Frederick reign of terror.
Also,
Mike Frederick just wins all of our competitions.
Who won Chuck's listener league? No way to find out.
It wasn't Chuck.
Did it even happen? No way to find out. Anyway, John, what's your kudos to me?
Kudos to me for, look, there's a subtle perfection in everything I do, and while I never win my leagues, I'm like a suitable like end boss. I always make the playoffs. I often make the finals. You get the satisfaction of not only winning the league but beating the host's ass in the
right.
finals.
You do a much better job than I do at that.
And role. I wish I could take credit for it, but it is just precipice failure.
I mean, listen. This is my inability to make a wise decision in this situation. It's much like my parenting when I'm trying to teach my kids soccer. My wife's like, "Should you let him score?" No. It won't feel good if I let him score, but I do every now and then. But yeah. Different parenting styles, so I guess. Anyways, par fadeaway, John.
Suns Nuggets Thursday. Are they going to play all the people
or play?
No one? Yeah,
I don't.
I kind of want your help choosing a par fadeaway because I don't know. So I feel like in the West there's more chances of good games, but I'm not certain.
I mean, Wednesday night is Clippers Lakers.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
should
I feel
be
like
a massive, huge game. But
Clippers may want out of that 5th spot though.
But you can't drop to 7 again. I would say viewing guide, because we live in a fallen world where you're rewarded for losing in the Tankathon standings. Basically, this time of year we have to figure out which teams both want to win badly. And like Tuesday night, Raptors Hornets, no. Heat Pistons, no. Cavs Magic, no. Bucks Wizards. I mean, the Wizards weirdly, yes, but I don't. The Bucks don't care. The Bucks are wrapped up. Timberwolves Nets. That's a great game on Tuesday night, right? Timberwolves. Okay. They have to make the play in. Not like missing the play in, and everyone doesn't. There's a huge advantage to being the 7 or 8 seed as opposed to the 9 or 10 seed. So Timberwolves Nets, the Nets trying to hang on
and
a
the
6.
Nets want to win. Yeah, they don't want.
That's what I'm saying. So Timberwolves Nets, big game. Hawks Bulls. That's a big game on Tuesday night. Yeah. And then beyond that, Pelicans Kings. That's a legit showdown. So these are all legit showdowns.
Is it bad that I don't consider Pelicans games any longer?
The Pelicans are they're winning. Brandon Ingram's been incredible.
But they've I just assume they're stuck in the play-in. I don't know why. They're tied with the Lakers.
They're not.
I assume they're stuck in the play-in. I don't consider them games. And then they're slowly going to reach up, and we're going to have to face them in the first round. So that's what you want the Pelicans, even though they always beat us. You want the Pelicans in the first round.
I do. Yeah.
I'm going to take this lingering. We're about to lose to a team we should beat.
Man, those direct flights from Nashville to New Orleans are cheap. I need that for the playoffs, man. No, actually Tuesday night we get Thunder Warriors. Honestly, huge game. And although again, I'm scared the Thunder are just giving up. But and then also I think Kings Pelicans very, very good. So
since I said all those nice things about the Thunder, they have found, it could have been another apology. They have found a way to have some pretty middling results.
They've been playing their guys. Like they're playing Jalen Williams, they're playing Shea, all the
their
minutes.
guys just happen to include the Lou Dorts of the world who can.
Lou Dort again showed up twice in the iShop list there. What's your thought on the late push for Jalen Williams for Rookie of the Year? I don't. Is this over podcasting where people have to create content every day? I mean, Ben Carroll was awesome, but Jalen Williams has been awesome, and he's playing in games that matter. I feel like the games that matter thing is big, but maybe it shouldn't be.
I mean, if your big splashy argument lands on April Fool's Day or later, then it's not a very good argument, I think.
I like that. That's a very good thing to live by. My part fadeaway is just all more of these games. We'll be doing more playbacks. I'm not sure when. I mean, honestly, maybe a little bit every night. Make sure you get in the Slack so you get the alerts.
Yeah.
Doing that. Also, of course, we'll have a watch party in Nashville for Grizzlies playoff games, maybe all of the Grizzlies playoff games. So again, go ahead and schedule April 15th and 16th, whenever game 1 of the playoffs happens for the Grizzlies. We will be at Noble's Beer Hall giving away Grizzlies prizes and having drink specials and a real good time over there. Anyways, if you want to support our show, do that at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing